So, Ruben, welcome back to Australia.
To us.
But it's nice to be home.
It's really nice.
Yeah, so tell us where you've been, what you've been doing in the last few months, because I know you've been to Macau.
Yeah, I was the MC of Franco Dragone's show Taboo, sort of an erotic, sensual cabaret, circus, extravaganza. He creates these huge feats of shows. The cabaret scene in London is kind of different to the Australian cabaret scene, because the Australian cabaret scene, in terms of like things like the Adelaide Cabaret Festival or the Melbourne Cabaret Festival, it's based on the New York model of cabaret, which is very musical theatre, Sondheim on a stool, kind of people doing concerts, really. It's musical theatre concerts and stories and things like that. But in Europe, cabaret is still more a variety bill. You'll have an MC, you'll have a singer, you'll have a comedy bit, you'll have a juggler, you'll have a fire performer, you'll have an aerialist, a circus act, you'll have a burlesque performer. Burlesque is a huge part of it. So when I went to London, that's what I saw, and I went, I love this, it has a bit of everything. So I jumped into that and I started emceeing, and soon enough venues came and said, oh, we want you to work with us and create shows. Café De Paris is the main one. And I was working with the producer there, and he mentioned the name Franco Dragone. I hadn't heard of Franco Dragone because I was still kind of in the infancy of this. And when I looked him up, he's the guy who created he created he created all the big famous cirque shows like Saltimbanco and all that. And I went, this guy's top shelf. I want to get away into this. And that was really all I thought about it. But it was there in the back of my mind. And I'd been working also at the Box London and the Box New York, but I've been working in London. And so I was emceeing there, and they have an MC, and it's sort of this, it's really decadent Weimar. The director of that, it's actually created by Simon Hammerstein, who is the grandson of Oscar Hammerstein.
Mm-hmm.
So from Oklahoma to that. But his other director, Richard Kimmel, who's this New York performance heart madman, was instrumental in getting me into the Box, because he saw me at the Savoy Hotel. Now the Savoy Hotel is very ritzy. It is real ritzy.
Yep.
So to go from swilling champagne where Oscar Wilde and Judy Garland performed to what happens at the Box was a wonderful kind of barometer, not barometer, but from one extreme to the other. And then he got asked to create this show for Franco Dragone. And then I just got an email in my box from Dragone Casting on the tube in London. And it was a very weird letter, because it was kind of like, we'd like to know if you'd be interested in coming on board. Would you please name your expected fee, blah, blah, blah. Which is, that's not something that really happens. That's not a real thing. That's something you see in movies. And I did a cartwheel on the damn tube.
Were you looking around going, who can I tell?
That's the thing. And you're on the tube, so you can't call anyone. And you can't put it on Facebook at all, because it's just an expression of interest. I was jumping up and down, I was crying, I was making a complete testicle spectacle of myself, and it's London Tube.
Yes.
No one shows emotion in a London Tube. It's like a Melbourne art gallery. They just sit there and they just look angry. And then someone looks at me, and I look at them, and I just go, you don't know what this is about. And then I went away for 4 months and worked with Franco and Richard, and learned it was sort of like a revolution in learning how to create pictures, because I've been creating shows in London with artists and acrobats and things, but because of a variety bill nature, you sort of have to segment acts, so other performers can't be in acts with other performers because it's their act. And if someone's sick, then it's too much. There's not like swings or anything. But Franco paints. He paints pictures. He sits there with his laser pointer up the back and goes, I need a body here. Okay, this is a trapeze. You are watching the trapeze. Do something beautiful. It's stressful. It's stressful to perform, but he creates a full canvas and paints with bodies in a space. So I learned huge amounts like that, and also about mounting a show on a larger scale than anything I would have ever done before. And hopefully be able to put that into practice when I get back to London.
Well, how do you think the career that you have now came about? because you know
Well,
you are a graduate from the
yeah.
VCA. So
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about what that.
Well, I always
what
wanted
that
to be in
measures.
musical theatre.
Mm.
You know, I was raised in a family that was very much an artistic theatrical family, and sort of we watched West Side Story and we watched the Marx Brothers and all these American vaudevillian things, and which is very much what musical theatre is based on, and we love musical theatre, my whole family. And when I was at the VCA, Tim as a teacher, for those of you that know Tim, which I'm sure all of you do, will agree with me, he's not just a teacher, but he doesn't just teach you how to sing or how to perform, he teaches you to realise why you do it. And it teaches you to look at things in a completely different way as an artistic entity, as an artist. So you could sing, you might get up and sing "Come to Me, My Melancholy Baby." And if you do it strictly as the music says and all that kind of thing, and you sing it well, that's fine. But he'll look at you and go, but that's not really how you want to sing it, or how you should sing it, because you are an artist, you're a person. If you're a computer, you're going to sing it at 120 BPM, whatever, in this key. But your voice isn't this person's voice, whatever. You change your key, you change your tempo, you change your phrasing. He teaches you to become, if not how to become an artist, but certainly how to look at things as pliable. You know, there's flexibility in everything. In every role there's push and pull. So the people in my course from Tim came out of there with the ability to slot into musical theatre shows and the ability to function and reap great rewards as musical theatre artists, as they have, as we have. But yet there's another element to them, and he brings that out in people, I think. So when I went to, I was a graduate of the course, and when I moved to London, one of the first gigs I got was I was Magaldi in Evita in the international tour, and we did like the Berlin Opera House and the State Theatre in Mannheim and the Hamburg Staatsoper and all the number one theatres in England. So Manchester, Liverpool, Aberdeen, everything. Well, Aberdeen's in Scotland. And it was fantastic. Magaldi's a great role for me. He's a cabaret singer who's self-indulgent and an egomaniac and maybe not quite as amazing as he thinks he is, which is perfect, like no stretch needed. But in terms of artistic fulfillment, on stage is fine, it was fine. But off stage with a director going, well, you're slotting into a tour. You have to stand here, sing here, do this, look here, bam, bam, bam. When you're an artistic entity, you want to interpret. You want to push and pull, and you want to flex. So you have to learn to go, okay, yep, cookie cutter bang, I'll find my own joy in these little bits. But after that, I kind of thought, I don't think that's for me unless I was originating a role or something, or was working with a director who would give that. So I went into cabaret. So I looked at the cabaret scene in London and saw the creative freedom. And sure, it worked within this aesthetic that we all know and love. You know, cabaret is one of the most amazing musicals. And that scene, that Weimar scene of the 20s, was this absolute explosion of creativity with some of the most amazing songs and images that you still see in art today. You know, it all kind of calls back. And when you think about cabaret, almost every major underground movement has started with cabaret, from queer rights to peace in Vietnam to, because Joni Mitchell and Bob Dylan were singing in cabaret spaces. You know what I mean? And from Weimar, you know, it's all quite current, and it's very responsive, and it's very now at the same time as being timeless and retro. It's all of those things. And there's such freedom. Look at performers like Meow Meow.
Yeah.
There's no rules.
So, do you have an idol?
Not one idol, but a mishmash of all of them. And that's kind of what I've created. Is I look at what my persona is on stage, and it's sort of a mix of all those things that I really loved. It's part Danny Kaye, it's part Groucho Marx, it's part Barry Humphries, it's part Julian Clary, it's part Frankie Boyle, it's part Norma Desmond, it's part Bette Midler, it's part Mick Jagger, you know. It's it's a whole jigsaw puzzle of influences. Because if you had one idol and you based it off that one person, then I think you'd be missing something. I think having that conglomeration of people and influences means that they adhere to you instead of you trying to fit into one image.
What would be your dream scenario situation? Is it
That's
creating?
a good one. The ideal situation, I used to say headlining my own show in Vegas with variety because of the budget and the extraordinary, But if you're headlining a show in a casino, that means the casino are putting the money up and they have some say. And let's say casino people may not be the most creative of individuals, but you would have to find a way to negotiate it. In terms of roles, there's so many roles I would absolutely love to play in musical theatre. There are roles like that exist now, like let's say the Megaldis, you could say, or Frankenfurter or Hedwig, or those roles that have something in them, or Pirelli and Todd. They would have an allowance for you, as opposed, because I don't feel I'm a transformative actor as such. I've made my business from being a personality, but
You are. Of course, you wouldn't have the success that you've got if you weren't.
But yeah, I don't know. The dream has kind of always just been to be continually employed, because when I was growing up, that was something that was completely out of the realm of possibility. Was completely employed as an actor.
Yes.
And part of the course was a realistic expectation of you're not always going to be employed as an actor. So you got to create your own work. So the cabaret workshop in the show in the course was the seed of that. And actually from that was my first time, because we did a 15-minute, you do your 15-minute segment, and the Butterfly Club boys saw mine and said, turn it into an hour and we'll tour you. That was it. That was the beginning of it.
That's fantastic. So, Rueben, what do you do on a daily basis? If you're holding that up as your goal for the future, and if I read between the lines, it's creative freedom that is your mantle. It's the flip of what most people...
It's a cause and effect. People are not understanding the cause and effect. So most people think of creative freedom as someone else has given you money to be creatively free, but that money comes with,
requirements.
Requirements. I always write jokes, and I always listen to people's conversations, and if you know from things like my Facebook or outlets like that, I try and make sure that at least once a month I have a status that is a creative piece of writing. They're often based in fact, but they're comedic in nature. They have to be. I try and make sure that I'm writing and my brain is active in writing jokes. And sometimes that can be, I'm just going to be bitchy today. And you can put that mantle on, and then you make sure you write down everything, and you go to sleep, and the next day you go and go, that was horrible. No, that didn't work. Oh, that was not so bad. Oh. I try and see as much as I can. Good, bad, no matter what. I will try and, if I can't see something, at least every second night in London. But the more you see, the more you learn. And it's that thing of, you're inspired by good theatre. You're inspired by good theatre, but you learn from bad.
Yeah, you do.
So when I see a show that I'm going, oh God, it's still going. Why is it still not even just around, but the time is still going. I go, no. What are they doing that you wouldn't do? How would you fix that? What are they trying to do? Because there's no performer wants to be a bad performer, but that's how you empathise and go, oh right, that's how you learn. Because that's kind of, it's looking at it without judgment. And I know it's difficult for me to talk about not judging people because I love doing it, but yeah, there's a habit. So I work with a lot of circus people. I try and learn skills from them. And in terms of singing, I think I sing all the time. I mean, I do every day. Every day I'll be singing, and it's things that I shouldn't be singing, like Your Daddy's Son from Ragtime. So I sing all the time, and I sing in a range of voices. Like I'll screech out my falsetto, and it won't sound attractive, and I'll belt, and then I'll sing Old Man River or I Was Born Under a Wandering Star and get my bass out, because I've never been a fan of exercises, which is terrible to say because they work, they just work. But like you, I don't have a brain for structure.
No, so you're getting your dexterity in another way. You're
Totally.
You're actually, what you're doing is playing the state. So you're accessing all of the different
I can't
sounds
create in a
and
vacuum.
tones, impulse.
The tone of the voice is the emotion and part of the storytelling. And that's when I see mechanical singers now, and I say mechanical singers, I mean singers who have amazing facility, amazing range and amazing technique, but they haven't learned how to tell the story with the sounds they're making.
So Ruben, your creative practice is play.
Yeah, totally.
You
it has
play.
to be. Yeah, all my stuff on stage is improv. I have gags. I have gags and jokes and things, but I don't go on stage with a script. I go on stage with a structure of, okay, you need a joke here about yourself so that you can make fun of the audience. You need a joke about men here in the audience because you can't go out and attack or make fun of women first off because they're the majority of the audience, and also until you make fun of the majority, you can't make fun of the minority. And you make a joke about men, and then so the women are on your side, and then you can kind of poke fun at women, and then you can poke fun at this person, then you can, it's a whole series of those. And there's welcome, you need to talk about behavior, you need to talk, like, turn your phones off and shut up, you need to talk about when drink service, there are things you have to do as an MC that are part of the role, but I don't go, oh, I'll use this joke here. I have 6 pages at any one time with me of jokes, of one-liners. And I'll do my face and I'll do my outfit, and then I'll read them out loud. And then whatever sticks. And then I'll come up with stuff on the spur of the moment. So it's all about play. It's all about improv, reaction, and because part of the act is it's that perfect host, but the souffle is about to start burning, and it's quite fine, but it's fine, it's wonderful. I'll be back in a moment, thank you. It's all that stuff, which is actually also Patricia Rutledge from Keeping Up Appearances. It's that thing of the swan with the feet going crazy underneath, but looking totally serene at top.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's a wonderful character to play. I mean, that's an archetype. That's play. And then everything I did after that was theatre sports and comedy and slapstick. You all love a slapstick. I love a slapstick. Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin, all those performers that. I mean, I still have a theory that all of comedy is about a human acting like a child in some way. It's about someone discovering something for the first time, or dropping something, or falling, or even when it's back and forth about this, there's still that thing of like, it's still a child grabbing a toy in a sandbox. It's just a verbal representation of that. So that's my theory of comedy, and that's what I kind of have looked at and tried to emulate and try and do. Because a lot of my stuff is play. The rehearsal stuff that I do is for the songs. Because singing, unlike just speaking and improv speaking, singing is an actual physical task. And the only way you're going to get it perfect and be able to play in the moment is if you have your vocal cords completely accustomed to jumping from this note to that note the way you want it. So I've got a song, Sailor Boys. It's about 8 minutes long. It's not 8 minutes long, but it feels 8 minutes long. And it's big, it's long, there's weird pitches, there's all these things. I have to run that damn song at least twice a week so that on any night I can go, oh yeah, I'll bust it out. And then I play with it. Then I can. So I did I did a version of Copacabana at the Adelaide Cabaret Festival. My version of Copacabana is 3 minutes on the page, 6 minutes in real life. At the Adelaide Cabaret Festival, because the audience was so fantastic and I was in amongst them and I was drinking people's wine and carrying on and screaming and yelling at the band and all this stuff, it went for 23 minutes. Because I knew the song so well, I could stop in the middle of a phrase, the band would stop with me because they're Matthew Carey, like, could you ask anything better? And they don't know when I'm going to start again. But I can play and fiddle and do and talk and blah, 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 and then just go straight back into the song at the right pitch, in the right tone. Like, it's about rehearsal will set up the foundation for you to play. It's like putting the trampoline up. Rehearsal puts the trampoline up so you can bounce like a motherfucker. That's what rehearsal is.
Best description ever.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And also the thing is, the difference between performance is where you really learn. Performance is where you're really going to learn how to be a performer. Because well, certainly for me, that's where I learn give and take, and I read the audience. Because it's a duet. You are never performing solo. And any performer that thinks that needs to stop right now, because you're never performing solo. You are performing with two people, you and the audience, because that audience is a collective of people having an individual experience as one. And they're the Ginger Rogers to your Fred Astaire, and remember, they're doing it backwards and in heels. They're the ones laughing. They're the ones clapping. They're the ones keeping quiet and paying attention. Also, there's the adrenaline. There's just the physical aspects of performing, that you're going to get the shakes, you're going to get shallow breath, you're going to do that. But if you've rehearsed enough, then your autopilot kicks in. And you know that even jogging around... Here's one, actually, practice. If I know I'm singing a song, I sing that song everywhere. I will sing that song walking and running everywhere, at full voice. I'll be people think I'm crazy. I don't give a shit. I'm going to get paid to do this. I'll sing it running when I go out for a jog, because if you can complete it running, it'll sound a bit crap, but if you can complete it running, that means when you can't breathe and you're shaking, you'll be fine. At least you'll be in better shape than if you were like, oh, I've run it a couple of times, it's fine.
Reasons. Are there any drawbacks?
Yeah, a bad performance will make you question every life choice you've ever made. You don't have the ability to look at it as a positive, because you go, okay, yes, you sucked. Yes, they didn't clap, or yes, they didn't laugh at this. It wasn't your best. If you don't have the ability to remember a really good performance, then and then find a way to regain your composure, and your confidence to get back out there, and that the next gig you do after a bad performance is the most terrifying. It's the where you go, you forget for the minute that the audience is on your side, and you think the audience hates you. That's a downside. Performing is stepping on a razor thin edge, and that's why it's addictive. You're there with the adrenaline. Your post-show blues, yeah, they're a downside. Being a little bit lonely after a show. But there are moments when I'll be in a dressing room alone after a show, taking off my makeup, and it's two moments in one. It's a calm sense of accomplishment, and you're remembering going back over all the good things that happened in that wonderful gig, and you're coming back down to earth and becoming Rueben again, or Rueben without the face on. And then I look in the mirror and I kind of go, I don't get to be that guy for a while. And it's not that it's loneliness, but it's part of the come down of adrenaline as well. That serotonin high that you get, because the thing is, performing is really keyed into your fight or flight mechanism and your response, because your body perceives the minutes before you get on stage that stage fright as a fight or flight threat, and you are flooded with adrenaline. That's why your hands shake, that's why you can't breathe, because you're getting ready for a huge anabolic aerobic feat. You're there to fight the woolly mammoth. You've got to kill the woolly mammoth. And the woolly mammoth and by doing that huge physical exertion, doing the show, is what processes all the adrenaline. And then you get your dopamine and your serotonin. And that's applause, or like halfway through the performance, like, I'm on top of the world. And that's part of why your play sense kicks in, because you're free and you're going bang, 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 and everything's firing. which is why I love stage fright and I love nerves. I love that feeling because I know that it's gonna. I know what the process is.
It's fuel.
It's fuel. And actually, when I don't get that, that's when I know I have to really work. Because it's just not happening today, or I'm tired, or whatever. I don't have that much adrenaline left. I've got to work. But after that come down, after that high and that dopamine, and all those feel-good chemicals have run through my body, I'm depleted. And it sucks. It also is one of those extremely self-indulgent moments where you're taking off your makeup and going, I'm alone in the dressing room. Oh God, no! I'm Arnold. Oh no! From what's it called? Torch Song Trilogy. I'm Arnold from Torch. Why can't I find a man? All that.
What's next? What's next for you?
Rehab. No. What's next for me? I go back to London.
Yep.
I start working with Café De Paris again on a brand new show. I go back to gigging. I've got a few new residencies. I'm at the Savoy Hotel back there. I'm at Circo de Guanabara, which is a Latin themed circus. I mean, like South American Latin, not Roman. And then, because that's a mistake people make all the time. And then I'm at Circus Restaurant in Covent Garden, which is this amazing restaurant which has huge long marble tables that then turns into stages and circus performers come sweeping in and out. And, but yeah, just keeping employed.
You will be. Sure. So Ruben, do you have a favourite moment performing, or something something that you just treasure?
Because what I do is so interactive with the audience, but I think this speaks for any performance. Performing doesn't really happen on stage, it doesn't really happen in the audience. The magic happens when the two meet just over the apron. That's like the magic, sexual ball of magic.
It's like where the ocean meets the shore.
Yeah, exactly. It's those transitional moments, that moment between moments where you've done the joke and you're waiting for the audience, and there's that tension, and then they pick it up and they laugh.
Yeah.
And so there's this tension and release. Or you hit a song and you hit the button of the song and you hit the pose, bang, and there's that split second, and then the audience goes, whoom. It's like in a tsunami when the ocean goes out and then it comes back. That tension and release, it's like the moment before you die and your whole life flashes before your eyes. It's that moment when you're falling over and everything goes into slow motion. It's that when you don't know what's going to happen. And it's brilliant. It's the moment where you've given the offer to the audience and they give their counter offer. And that's when it's unified. That for me is the moment. That's the moment.
You're in paradise in the unknown.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because you just jumped. It's when you're bungee jumping and you jump. And that's not all performing is. I mean, like, it's not as simplistic as that, but in essence it is. Because you're side stage, you're in the dark, and you're waiting, and every party is going, do not go on that stage, do not break that leg, do not step out on those lights. And every party is going, I have to, mama. And then you do it, you're jumping and you're out. And from then on there's, oh, bang, I'm here. You know, that's what it is. That's the joy, and that's the risk and the danger and the fear and the sex and the everything.
Therein lies the addiction.
Pardon?
Therein lies the addiction.
Therein lies the addiction. Yeah, because it is. It's the adrenaline of that moment, and it's the wanting to be loved or get approval, and you get it back. This makes me sound like I'm an absolute basket case, but if you're watching this, then chances are you'll want to. There's nothing else. I need to cuddle in a cigarette now.
Okay, all right. Very good.